Sometimes I wonder who I would have been if my life had started differently. If there had been more money at home, more calm, more guidance, more chances, more room to mess up without feeling like everything depended on me. And maybe you've thought some of this too, at some point. Not because you hate your story, not because you're not grateful for what you did have, but because there are moments when you look at your life and realize a lot of things shaped you before you ever got a say. The way you learned to ask for help, the way you learned to stay quiet, the way you learned to settle for less because asking for more felt impossible. And then this question shows up, and it stings. Who would I have been if things had been different? But that question doesn't show up to wreck you. Sometimes it shows up because you're finally understanding what you were missing. There are parts of our life we never chose. We didn't choose where we were born. We didn't choose how much money there was at home. We didn't choose whether the adults around us had what it took to take care of us the way we needed. And we had no say in the decisions other people made for us back when we couldn't decide anything for ourselves. And still, a lot of us grow up carrying the consequences like it was our fault. Maybe you learned to be tough way too early. Sometimes you learned not to ask for too much. Maybe you watched other people have support, safety, or way more open doors, and wondered why everything felt harder for you. And the confusing part is, you can love your family and still admit what hurt. You can be grateful for what they did and still admit that something was missing, because one doesn't erase the other. But once you understand that, a different kind of sadness shows up. The sadness for the life you never got to live. That sadness shows up in small moments. When you see someone else studying without worrying about money. Sometimes you notice other people living with the calm of feeling protected. You also see people moving forward with a clear direction because they had guidance from the start. And you see others take chances on new things because they grew up hearing they actually could. And you don't want to feel jealous. But something inside you keeps asking, what would my life have looked like with that kind of support? I would have trusted myself more. I would have started sooner. Maybe fear wouldn't have frozen me the way it did. And that thought can trap you. Because what if looks like an open door, but a lot of the time it turns into a room you get stuck in. You go back to the past, you picture another version of yourself, a different family, a different shot at things, a different life. And the more you picture it, the more unfair the one you actually have starts to feel. You keep spinning around in a story that never happened. And little by little you start feeling like you've missed out on everything. But here's the hard part. The life you never got to live isn't your fault, but you do deserve to stop being stuck in it. Admitting what was missing isn't being ungrateful. It's being honest. Grieving the life that could have been is part of healing too. Because you can't let go of something you never let yourself name. You were missing protection. You were missing guidance. You were missing money. And you were also missing someone who told you, I believe in you. And accepting that hurts, but it can also become a turning point. Because once you understand what you were missing, you start seeing more clearly what you need to build now. Maybe you can't turn back time and give yourself the childhood you needed, but you can start giving yourself the patience you never got, the confidence nobody taught you, the chance to try even without everything figured out. This isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about not letting what was missing decide everything that's still coming. And still, even once we start building something different, there can still be a version of us living inside that question. What would my life have been like if things had gone differently? And it's okay to grieve that version. It's okay to admit that some things really would have been easier with more support, more resources, more care. But your life doesn't end at what you didn't get. It also starts with what you decide to build with what you actually have right now. So today isn't about having all the answers. It's about sitting for a second with the part of your story that hurt, without shrinking it or blaming yourself for it. About recognizing that some things were out of your control and still left a mark. And from there, starting to build something different. Not because everything's fixed, but because you're done ignoring what you need to feel better. If you made it this far, genuinely, thank you for staying. I'll see you in the next chapter.